So I'd like to call the meeting to order, the Scituate Council on Aging, April 11th, Thursday, 2019. Let's do a quick round of introductions. I'm J.D. Miller, Chairman of the Board. Maybe we'll go this way.
Jenny Gerbis, I work for the Council on Aging, Senior Center Outreach Coordinator.
Sean Harris, Board of Selectmen, just filling in for Karen. She's unable to make it tonight.
Joan Powers, liaison for South Shore Elderly Services.
Henry Ye, COA board member.
Janice Desmond, board member.
Elaine Shambari, liaison for Friends of Scituate Seniors.
Ellen Jablonski, board member. Leslie James, board member.
Very good. Sean, we appreciate you swinging by and covering.
No problem at all. Happy to be here.
So we have, I think maybe, well, most may have received electronic minutes earlier in the day. I'm not sure if people had a chance to take a look at them. So we have meeting minutes from last month, March 14th. Wanted if everyone take a quick look at those. We'll move forward. Linda, by the way, is out of town, so she will not be here.
So what was Joe's last name? Don't need that.
Bargman? Bargman. Joe Bargman? Is that misspelled or something? I didn't see that.
Well, from last minutes.
Bargmann. I didn't see it, but I heard it was a great turnout, which I assumed. Yeah.
There were so many little things, they were so hilarious. I think some of them thought they were meeting or something. Like, they were just a turkey. They have a hot dog.
Very,
It was good.
Does anybody have any comments, updates, edits on minutes? I do.
Okay.
Simply, my omission, I did not formally send a letter of support to the rec department. We had voted on it, we had approved the rec department field project, but I did not put something in writing and send it over to them. I believe we verbalized that to them. I know I talked to Gordon offline, and he articulated that, but I didn't. My only notation on minutes would be, we did not send a formal written piece of paper, written document to the rec department for support of their field program, field project. Otherwise, does anybody else have any updates? Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept minutes.
Very good, thank you. As I mentioned, Linda is not here today. She has submitted a director's report. I initially thought, okay, we'll just move right through that, but it feels like I should highlight, at least for our audience, television audience, cable audience, who some of the things that she mentioned. So I will kind of go through the minutes briefly and just highlight what she's got. So, director's report for this month. There was a grant request that was submitted to the Scituate Education Foundation for providing a monthly art education program. continuing to work on the senior center brochure and the volunteer guide with the help of some volunteers. There has not been an age-friendly, live well Scituate meeting since last month. We talked about scheduling one very soon, and she just hasn't sent out an email, so we will be back sort of on track for that. Caitlin and Linda and I met offline earlier in the week or end of last week to work on submitting a grant, a small grant application to AARP that Caitlin flagged it's under the 2019 Community Challenge Grant. So I think Caitlin has put something together and submitted something for something around town. We actually ended up talking about trying to utilize some funds to bring in something similar to a blue bike and set up bike stations around town. That would be then funded through this grant if we get the grant, but I have to catch up with Caitlin to get the details on that. The next Super Tuesday will be next Tuesday, the 16th, and that is the monthly cafe open lunch. Her next memory training workshop will be on April 25th, and that will run for 4 weeks. The Parkinson's Support Group is meeting on the third Tuesday, and the next meeting is Tuesday, April 16th, also since next week. A brief review, seems like a long time ago, but the St. Patty's Day Parade and the float, and so they're skipping down through those notes. There's a special thanks to Sean Harris, who helped with a truck and a driver, so thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome. Giving us a flatbed for our team of dancers and green-headed, yeah, I shouldn't go any farther on that. Why? Not, okay, very good. We had an intergenerational interact dinner and game night on Monday, a couple weeks ago, Monday the 25th, here. That was attended by some in the senior community and the Interact Club, hosted by the Interact Club here for food, drink, and games, social time. Scituate hosted the Red Sox World Series trophy, and Jenny and I were just talking about that offline here a second ago. That was a pretty substantial success. We had, for 2 hours, we only had 2 hours, right? We had 450 people. That's a pretty good crowd of people going through the community building to take a look at the World
Team
Series
Senior
trophy.
Center.
This is great.
Oh,
So
it was
that was
wonderful.
a success. Always fun to see the Red Sox trophy. We actually were also able to, along the ballpark theme, serve hot dogs and popcorn. So all fun, all good, well attended, and not surprisingly, people are really excited to be able to see the trophy.
Enter the week, I might add. I mean, that was,
Yeah.
imagine if it's Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Right.
Intergenerational pickleball event with Scituate High School students will take place on Wednesday, May 1st at the high school. Sign-ups, it looks like sign-ups are welcome. The Council on Aging will be sponsoring Scituate Health Fair on Thursday, May 2nd at St. Mary's, and that'll be from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Concerning the senior center project, so Linda's personally spoke to the Gates Middle School PTO, parent-teacher organization on, very nice, on March 18th, March 18th, and the Scituate Rotary Club on March 20th. All were very supportive of the campus project. She also attended the Library Foundation meeting with Gordon Price and the Chamber of Commerce meeting. We had 3 public information sessions a few weeks back on March 18th, March 21st, which were Monday, Thursday, and then a week and a half later on March 30th. at various times and locations. We respectively guesstimate attendance was 50 the first night, 35 the second night on Thursday night, and probably about 90, give or take, on Saturday morning, the 30th. We have time and to work on building another couple of sessions, which may be helpful. So we may very well try to build in a couple of more on the calendar, open public sessions to inform people about the project. Certainly as we get closer to due dates. The Public Building Commission meeting on Tuesday, March 26th. A final budget was presented and approved. And I can update that last night, not last night, but this past Tuesday night, April 9th, the Public Building Commission met and reviewed the final estimates submitted by Bargman and Associates, or Bargman and Archetype, and articulated by Steve Kirby, our OPM. It was pretty clear and pretty detailed, and fully supported by the Public Building Commission. So that's the budget that shows is 12.2 million. Linda attended a department head and safety personnel meeting on Friday, March 29th, which included discussion, and this is all relative to, or specific to the senior center project. So a town department head meeting was held on March 29th, including the fire chief, the police chief, traffic officer, other departments, to discuss anybody's other perspective on the campus, the site, the traffic flow, etc. There was a shelter committee meeting on Monday, April 1st, that she attended with Steve Kirby to discuss requirements as to potentially use the new building as a backup shelter. I need to stress that it's a backup shelter. It is not intended to be the primary shelter in town. That will remain at Scituate High School. But really, this new building, hopefully I'm simplifying it as it should be. All we really needed to do to have this qualify as a new shelter, and maybe Sean might hop on this, is we needed to have showers on the second floor. So when we're putting a new building in, let's plumb it for showers, and we can cap the showers, and if we need to tap into the showers, we open them up. But the water is there, the lines are there, and then the building can potentially be used if we ever need it as a warming station, certainly as a shelter, if absolutely needed. Primary shelter will remain at the high school. Last night, Linda attended a joint advisory and capital planning meeting for presentation and approval before town meeting on May 13th. She attended with both Joel Bargman and I believe Steve Kirby. I will leave the details to Linda. My feedback was that it was a little bit mixed in terms of, I was not there, so I can't give you a personal overview of some of the discussion points for the advisory and capital planning joint meeting. The plan was not overwhelmingly supported, but it was not put down either. But there was conflicting points of cost, location, and some of the same issues that I was sort of surprised to even hear that they were even being raised. But that was last night. I was not there. I can't really offer an eyewitness review of that meeting.
Didn't they need to approve it at that meeting?
No.
No, but they needed to review it.
I just happened to drop in town hall today to speak to the town administrator who was there and told me I really don't have any more details than that, other than it seemed like at the end he said no matter what the plan does, there was gonna be
Feedback?
Yeah, positive and negative.
Right.
So that's, you hit the nail right on the head. I wish I was there, but I.
Yeah,
that's not what I told them.
so I wasn't there, so I can't really speak as an eyewitness, so. Per Jim, per Sean, sort of mixed questions and opinions from various members of those two boards last night.
But it was from members rather than audience.
It was the joint, it was the advisory committee meeting also with the capital planning committee,
Yeah.
with Linda, Joel, and Steve presenting to those two committees in a joint meeting. I guess that's about it, and we've raised this issue, I think, last month. There will be a van available, there will be transportation available for anyone who needs a ride to and from our special town meeting in May. So, I guess I would say simply call here to get your name on a list, and the senior center staff will take it and figure out how to get people there and get people on. So with that, maybe I will turn this over to Jenny for her report on outreach. Well, does anybody have any questions on any of that? I can't give you a lot of the detail, I'm just going with my Linda's notes, but.
Well, my only question is, where do we go from, there was mixed response? Don't they have to approve it?
We don't go anywhere.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
not
It
necessarily,
wouldn't be
okay.
the first time we've gone to town meeting and boards have had different views, majorities. You know, you want to have everyone on board. And I like to think they might come around, but I can't speak for them.
Yeah.
So, I think a couple more public forums like they had would only help.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whoever raised the question about locations, that's
Right.
like water on the dam, I mean, what's the,
Right.
what's the answer? Like,
We've been doing that for so long now.
Yeah.
on the location.
Well, I can't speak to it, I wasn't there. I'm getting this sort of being on a text from an airport or something. So I don't have the detail. But that's all. Jenny, what's going on in outreach? What's going on around town?
Good stuff, good stuff. Jenny Gerbis, outreach coordinator. I know sometimes the numbers are not always like, the numbers can fluctuate, and how our database uses it or how it looks at it. So if I had met with one person, so the numbers, I met with 33 people, there are 43 different categories, and then 72 interactions for those. So how it would break down, just for, as an example, so I meet with one person and say they have 2 or 3 issues that they want to discuss with me, fuel assistance, maybe like an insurance question. So that one person would come in, that's 2 different categories.
Yep.
So then I would therefore, and then I go into the different types of insurance, or I would call our Shine counselor and bounce some things off of him. So that's 2 more, that would be 2 interactions. Or if someone needs me to advocate for them, so I would need to call down to fuel assistance, and then they call me back, and then I call back down to them, so then that's 4 and 5 interactions. So, from the start to finish, with each of my clients, that could be either 1 phone call, or it could be like 4 phone calls, or they come in and they drop off, supporting documents. So, I like to have a full account of every interaction that I have with people, just, for them and for myself. So, they know that, and if I have if I'm holding forms for them, I keep that in my database as well on, the types of things that I have. So with that said, like I had mentioned, the 33 people with 43 categories, and then 72 interactions, and probably still food assistance, that would be SNAP food stamps or referrals to the food pantry, and then in the summertime, which is, I've been already getting phone calls about the farmers market coupons, which are
Right,
excellent.
right,
So
yeah.
that's another, that's just those get generated and they just go out the door.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful benefit for people. They come from the South Shore Elder Services. So they fund that. And then we also get fresh vegetables from some of the farms in the Western Mass, but that comes through South Shore Elder Services as well. And probably another a top need is fuel assistance. And
Always, but.
always, yeah, but I mean, it's great, and I mean, the benefit is available. Anyone that I ever meet, I always encourage people to, file the application. I don't make determinations, and I put that right out there. I'm just kind of like the middleman, the conduit for them, so they don't have to go to Plymouth, which, and obviously, I'm very happy to do that, and, like I said, I never do the math to find out if they're financially eligible. And with the fuel assistance, if they are over income, what is it, the bell ringer guys? Salvation Army, sorry, Salvation Army. Salvation Army kind of, begins where fuel assistance ends, and then they have a benefit. This year, the benefit was $300 for.
Salvation Army?
Yep, from the Salvation Army, and they do get that money is from the bell ringers. Last year, the benefit was $250. This year,
Wow.
we had a generous,
Well,
must
very
have been
good.
generous year last year, so the benefit went up to $300. So that's
Jenny,
good.
could you, I'm noticing the elders at risk, that's pretty high. What categories is that?
Okay, so an elder at risk would be, a family member has called and they're seeing a different change in capacity for their loved one. So, the first thing is, have they gone to a doctor and things like that. Another one is somebody that is financially struggling, yeah. Or, if a neighbor is calling about someone that they have a concern, that falls under that.
Oh, okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John?
If you don't mind, I have it written, but I don't see if you have other business. This might be a little bit off topic, a little bit out of line, but I heard on the news today, and this is what Ginny's report is, Stop and Shop went on strike. And I don't know if they,
Oh, I did not know that.
well, and I don't know if really don't know what I'm talking about, but you just made me think of something. So I heard they literally told the customers, they wouldn't let any customers back in, so they might have closed their doors.
They did.
All right.
They did.
Okay, temporary until the strike is, all right. So this what, the products on the shelves with a shelf life, can we get some of that product to people who might need it before it's thrown
Or even
away?
to the food
Okay, to the
pantry.
food pantry.
I don't know how that works, I just throw that out. They probably already have systems in place, but they don't go on strike every day.
No.
So I'm just wondering if we.
Or if they go on strike, they don't close the doors.
Well, I didn't think so, and I don't know what I'm talking, maybe something to look into, I just heard about it, and
Right.
maybe an opportunity for
Did it happen
somebody to, I
today?
don't know.
Yes.
Yes, happens today.
Probably the Boston Food Bank is
It's gonna
the
have-
place
Yeah.
that would
Okay.
just,
Well,
I don't know,
Well,
motivate,
yeah, and
they
locally,
have like
the-
some sort of a,
Locally, a lot of the stores will give excess stuff to the food pantry.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the
Maybe-
stuff that
maybe-
we have here,
Yeah, well,
Daily.
maybe,
is that negotiated with the supermarket, or how?
That comes from.
yeah, we get Shaw's, and then on Tuesdays, we
Okay.
get Shaw's on Mondays and Panera Bread on
Yeah,
Tuesdays.
yeah.
And we have a volunteer picks
Goes
those
picks
up
it
and
up.
brings them to us, yeah.
Because when I just connected to what Sean was saying, when I volunteer at Marshfield and Kingston, and, we have this one table here, they have 5 tables.
No kidding.
Anything you can imagine,
Really?
from pies to cakes to bread,
well, food pantry gets that,
they do.
they get a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
And they
But
they
the
even
weekend-
now get frozen stuff.
Before it comes in?
No, we
It's
have it
even worse.
separate. I'm sure the food pantry has their volunteers.
Just throw that out there, just.
Oh, that's a
you
great.
know,
No, that-
That's
yeah.
a good point.
You never
Yeah.
know, maybe
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
be at the right place at the right time.
Mhm, mhm.
Well,
So-
Oh, no, thank you. I go to the housing authorities for half an hour once a month. I've been the co-facilitator for the over 50 job
Mhm.
seeking network
Mhm.
group, and that's been great. We've got probably an average of 20 to 25 people every other the first, the second and the fourth Wednesdays, we meet at the library.
Which in and
It's
of
been
itself is a big group.
It's a great
Like-
group, and
Like,
it's,
a networking group for job seekers could be half of that and be more.
right.
So 25 people is a lot of people.
It is. I mean, some people are like, it's too big. Some people are
Yeah.
like, but you need a lot of people to be able to
Yeah.
network with
Yeah.
other people,
Networking.
you know? It's actually a very dynamic group. Deb Raymond is getting guest speakers. She's been having some, interesting people. One woman came from the Quincy, what is it, the Quincy Job Corps, yes, she came down. We have a realtor coming in next week. She's just plugging in people. And if you have a business and you are seeking some,
Sure.
some assistance, she'll give you about 15 minutes. If you have something to offer, she'll give you 15 minutes right at the end, because we usually network for half an hour afterwards. Yeah, it's great. And I didn't catch up with Laura Manier, the town social worker. Last month, we do a lot of phone, we just do a lot of phone interaction. And I usually meet with Donald once a month as well. Donald Knapp, the Veteran Service Officer, sorry to be so casual.
Very good. Anybody have any questions for Jenny?
I just
Yeah.
wanted to, having new space, hopefully, will be so much better for you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. We hope. It
And
would be
Tricia?
great.
Yeah, I
It
have
would
a
be
question.
great. Yes.
Just example, on the financial, there are 3 interactions and 1 category. Things like that, what's the resolution?
So.
If there is a resolution.
Yeah,
Well,
right, or it
you
gets
know,
carried
I
at the
know
next month.
that was a specific case. It was one person seeking some financial assistance for some medical bills. And I did refer them to some of the groups that we send for outreach, and they were able to assist that individual with
What about the housing?
housing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people think that we are housing, so we'll start off with, we're not the housing authority, and I'll tell them what my role is, and that I can advocate for them. They can come down, I will help people fill the application.
Okay.
Right now, housing is doing redetermination, and if someone has trouble, getting it all together, or, filling the application, there's a lot of questions, and there's a lot of, fill in the blank, and I will absolutely stop and help anybody with that. It can be confusing, and I can see why people would need assistance, so I always offer my service. Like I said, I'm not that great at math, but thank goodness I don't have to do that determination. But or if someone is looking for a place, I'll try to brainstorm. We can jump on Craigslist and see if there's any apartments, or some people want to go to an assisted living, or they want to downsize from their home and they want an assisted living. So any of those types of housing situations, I have people that we refer.
Have you ever referred anybody to social elderly money management service?
Yes, absolutely, I'm on the board for that as well. So, yeah, I'll send people to Jody.
Yeah, okay.
It's great, yeah.
I worked with her too.
Yeah, they're great.
Good.
The Elder Services is our go-to. They're wonderful.
Is that a regular thing for you? Because quite often, people come to me and ask, how can I help them get into, Wheeler Park or Lincoln or one of those? And I just, refer them to the people in the housing, but I
Right.
didn't know Is that something you do every month? You kind of guide them through the process?
I
It's not
certainly will.
unusual?
I
Okay.
certainly will if someone has a question. I mean, housing will also do that. You know, they're very willing to help people. But, you know, where maybe if they're already coming here for knitting, or if they're here for something
Right.
else, and
Yeah.
I'm in the other
Catch
room,
all.
they, you know, yeah, I mean, the door is always open, you know. And if it's even, you know, I can make an appointment or go to their home or, you know, whatever.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Jenny? Okay, thank you. I'm gonna just try to summarize here also briefly for the sake of information dissemination. Get Clarkson's transportation report. As you can see, February and March were almost even. 501 total rides in February and 526 in March, which I was trying to think about earlier. Maybe is a little misleading. February was a relatively decent month weather-wise and a shorter month. March, the last week of the month at least, was snowstorm every other day. So there was probably a fair amount of cancellations for some of the time period in March, but as you can see, a lot of medical out-of-town rides, over 200 in March. So, you know, she kept pretty busy. And I know she's also working on trying to cut down on the cancellations, because all that does is sort of spends a lot of time setting these up, and then when you get a cancellation, all that work is sort of gone without any value, if you will. So, and she tries to be a little tighter on making sure people don't cancel and keep their commitments. And she mentions transportation. Some transportation services were canceled due to the snowstorm in beginning of the month in March. And she also mentions that Joe Swindler has been hired as a substitute special event driver. And he, just recently, so Joe will be on the driver team for the department.
Great.
I do not have anything for activities of volunteer, so.
Yeah, Lisa was, feeling well.
Okay. So we'll move off of that. Does anybody have any questions on any of that thus far? So why don't we move to our liaison reports, and we'll go to Joan Powers, Social Elder Services.
Well, the South Elderly Services had a meeting on Tuesday, April 2nd. They always do a detailed financial report, and there was a lot of discussion about protective services because it's going through a lot of changes. And they're going to have a board training on April 23rd. It was going to be the 30th, but they changed it to the 23rd, and that's like from 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock for the board and as a corporate group. They handed out a lot of papers, but I think the main ones were an email from Ren Myers from South Elderly Services, and he kind of listed the legislative community assignments, so all the different politicians, what they cover. So that was a detailed report for that. And then there's a paper on the audit, highlights needed for improved access to opiate counseling and expanded prescriber training. That's a big thing about that. And then there's what they call the anchor pilot. And that's advocating for navigating care in the home with ongoing risk, which is elderly with recurrent fluctuating behavior health needs often requires more frequent intense care management support than the standard home care case management system can sufficiently provide it. So the anchor is a highly focused care management and coordinated level that provides more frequent, rigorous, and time-intense delivery. and other support to elders with behavior health needs. So a lot of these people have mental health, a lot of them, some are on drugs,
Yeah,
some are alcohol.
I would think the anchor program will be busy.
Yeah. So, and so the work is, there's a lot more intensive training
Yeah.
for the people who are dealing with that. So that was interesting, you know, several pages, if anybody's interested. And, the Trinity dinner
What's
It's
on the
like
menu?
Luke's.
What's on the menu?
is, ravioli lasagna, which we've had before, and they really like that.
And ravioli lasagna?
Yeah, both together. They, yeah, they really like that.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, well, we've had it before.
Really?
And salad and rolls and upside-down pineapple cake. So that's the 28th at 5 p.m. So
Okay.
it's the Sunday after Easter,
Right,
which is the
okay.
28th.
Right.
It's always the fourth Sunday, and it just
Easter's
happens
the
luckily
21st.
that it was after
Yes.
Easter.
Where is it?
St. Luke's, we do it every month, and it's from 5, well, when the,
Till they kick you out?
when the days are nicer, they like to stay and talk. Well, they're usually broken up by 6:30. But we started this several years ago, mainly when people were having a rough time. We got families, but now it's mainly seniors. And
Yeah.
so someone said, well, how come so many seniors? I said, well, seniors, because they live alone.
That's right.
They socialize,
Something like
it's a
that.
Social
home cooked
interaction.
meal, and it's early enough now, you know, it's light out.
Yeah.
And they usually have a van too that brings some of the seniors. So we get like 40 to 60 people.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Wow.
50 to 70.
It
so
builds
there's
up in the
every week.
summertime.
Every week is
And
50 people.
and sometimes Rotary does it too, and then they usually do a turkey dinner, so then we get a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Very good. Thank you, John.
Okay.
Elaine is here representing
Yep.
Friends of Situate Seniors.
Friends of Scituate Seniors. There are a number of us that have been working on the Build a Campus project, and I know Gordon's going to speak to that later. We just had our annual spaghetti dinner on Saturday evening at
April 6th.
April 6th. I'm trying to think of the name of the church.
Oh.
Oh, Congo Church.
Congregational church, okay. And it was a big, huge success. We had, we made $1,316. Of that, $131.60 goes into a special line item in our accounting system available to the COA at their request. So that was really good. We did much better this year than last year. I think last year it was snowing, so that might have had something to do with it. And we're actively working going forward on our golf tournament, which is our major fundraiser for the year. That's going to be June 14th. We have sent out flyers and information to people that have donated in the past, that have golfed in the past. We have received donations back, people sponsoring holes and sponsoring, doing a special line sponsor, and they get ex-golfers. We've had really good success for that so far, and we're going to keep pushing on that, see if we can get a number of golfers up. There's apparently a golf tournament going on that week in Maine that 40 to 50 Scituate residents are going to,
Oh, wow.
which may impact our, but hopefully we can get them to come back for the Friday tournament, so they don't have to stay up the whole week in Maine. Come home for Friday. But we're actually moving forward on that, so that's basically what we've been up to.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Sean, we always ask for any kind of output from our BOS liaison. First of all, I'm pleased to see that you, because it shows me you survived Monday and Tuesday night of this week. Your eyes are still open, so that means you got a little sleep last few nights.
A few minutes, I wasn't quite sure how things were gonna go at different times, but all in all, it went very well. The only thing I could, I think everyone knows what happened, everything seemed to go just fine. The board continues to support this project. And if you have more meetings, we will be there. One of us, or at least one of us will be there.
Terrific.
I think that's important.
That's great.
I selfishly sat here at that meeting, and I happened to like this one right from the get-go, the idea of this rather than what was presented. But everyone's on board, and we'll do whatever we can to help.
Super, appreciate it, thank you.
Sean.
Yep, you're more than welcome. At one point, and I'm gonna say it now, I guess, because you got me thinking about it, town administrator was at the microphone, well, no, I'm not even gonna go there, just figure this out. I almost went to the
Please do.
microphone, when someone criticized this building.
This building?
Yes, this building, and I'm not gonna mention
Oh,
names.
yeah, right.
All right,
Yeah.
and my response to that was going to be that, it is what it is, how much money would you put into a building that's not gonna be long-term? So, I was very upset about it. Karen was ready to jump up, and I said, no, sit down, and then Jim went to the mic, and I didn't say anything, and I regret that. I don't want people to think, because he did get a little momentum, that this building, among others, didn't care about, weren't maintaining them, and so, this building in the old Pier 44, they're not brick, they're not mason buildings, and, we all know that, the lifespan of those buildings is, this one and that one are relatively short-term. So why would you put thousands and thousands of dollars in a building that's not gonna be around? So, he made the people at town meeting feel like the roof was falling in, and everyone knows this is not ideal, and it's long overdue. And that's just what I wanted to say, but I didn't, and, I might regret it, so.
I just wondered if he'd ever been in this building.
I don't know, but some people, some folks are pretty
Some people
quick to.
start to complain.
That's right, and then when they get a little applause, then they go back to the microphone, and that, my wife doesn't go to town meeting for things like that. I had asked her, I said, why don't you go? And that, when the same people come up and speak,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
it's,
That's true.
That's true.
Should like to hear them
but,
out.
My only comment is, and I don't think I witnessed the interaction you're talking about, but it must be frustrating for the board, your board, to not instinctually want to get up
Yeah, and respond.
and respond to many of the things that people get up at town meeting and talk about and or throw at you. So I think that would be.
Well, and this person is against our he doesn't see why we need a new building. I don't think he's ever been in here, as far as I wish he'd come and park sometime when we have a bunch of cars.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's an easy segue to, I'm gonna maybe just sort of combine things here. Our discussion on the senior center campus community project, I don't have a lot more information that I can offer that probably hasn't already been discussed tonight. As I said 2 nights ago, the Public Building Commission reviewed with our owner's project manager, Steve Kirby, all the detail into the estimate of the entire project, asked some questions, all went very well and was unanimously approved. And I know, as I said last night, Linda attended both a joint meeting of the Capital Planning and Capital Advisory. I can't give you much detail on that. But we wanted to also broaden the conversation here a little bit in terms of sort of ongoing information flow into the community, and that maybe points me towards the override campaign and Gordon, who's in the audience now. So maybe Gordon, I'll bring you, move you in.
I'll stay here if I can move up, but if
Yeah.
you can't hear me, I'll move up. I've only got 4 pages to talk about, relatively short. No, I just want to give you some idea of, we kind of called ourselves a steering committee for the ballot question. Elaine and I had to form a ballot committee to be legal, and actually we have an IRS tax number, and there's a lot to do when you are filing, when you're involved in a ballot question. But we kind of cleared all those hurdles, and we're now legal. You know, what we've been doing in the last couple of weeks, or basically since we last met here a month ago, is we've been trying to be present. We were at the Harbor Community Building for the Saturday presentation, handing out little postcards, which I'm sure probably most of you saw. We'll talk about the postcard in a minute. I attended the men's breakfast out at the GAR Hall last week. We had about 22 men there. So we kind of spread the word there. Denise and I are active at South Shore Peer Recovery, so we're cluing those people in to what's going on. The World Series trophy event, again, we had 3, 4, 5 of us there. We had our banner up on the building, and we handed out almost 400 informational cards that day. We got a lot of good comments. We were present at the library athletic field presentation. It was also at the library. I stood out in front, while people were coming in, again, handing out cards and information and talking to people if they wanted to stop and talk. Linda and I spoke to the Chamber of Commerce Board a couple of days ago, Monday I think, I lose track of the days. When you're retired, the days just go by. Busier now than I was when I was working. Chamber of Commerce Board, there was I think 5 or 6 of the board members there, went very well, they're very supportive. We'll be starting to canvass the harbor, Greenbush, North Scituate, and Hummerock with window plaques, not plaque, but one of these, with basically the information on it about the May 13th special and the May 18th ballot. And then, of course, they're waiting for us to come around asking for donations. I don't want to get into that until we know that this is going to fly.
Correct.
At both special and ballot. There's no point in getting people all excited or riled up about donations or contributions until we know it's going to happen. And it's not easy to go around asking for contribution unless you know it's going to happen. So this steering committee will morph from a kind of a ballot initiative committee to a public capital campaign, and we do plan to have a capital campaign. We're not going to set a number goal like the library did that kind of puts a lot of pressure on, but I think we can raise some significant money. I talked to quite a few people who said, yeah, as soon as I know this is going to fly, come and see me. I'd be happy to make a contribution. So that's where we'll go with that in the future. I spoke yesterday at the Cushing School Council. I didn't know that schools had councils, but every school has a council. And it's basically the principal, usually a couple teachers, and some administrative people. And we had a nice meeting with Donna Moffett, who's the principal at the Cushing School. They were very interested in what we had to present. And then I went back at 7 o'clock and spoke to the PTO. That was a very interesting meeting. There were about 25 moms there, no dads, all moms. And they were excited about the program. I explained to them the benefits to the community and the intergenerational programming that we'll be able to do much more easily when we're 120 feet away from the rec department. And we'll, also, I'm sure Linda and her staff will develop programs where we'll reach out to the schools. So it really was a tremendous meeting. It was a lot of enthusiasm. And it was interesting, when I went to the council meeting, I went home for supper in between 2 meetings. Then he said, so how many of the people knew anything about the senior project? Did you ask? I said, no, I never thought of asking. So my first question when I went to the PTO meeting was, how many of you have any feeling or resembling the idea of what's going on with the rec senior project. About half of them did. Half of them had some knowledge of it, which, you know, is kind of an eye-opener, and Denise and I were at a
That's a good question to
fundraiser.
ask.
We were at a
That's a good question
fundraiser
to
at
ask.
St. Mary's Hall, I don't even know what the event was, a couple weeks ago, and a couple came up to us who I've known very well from the office and just, you know, from around town. And they're a very well-connected couple, and they sat with us for a while, and Denise said, so how do you guys feel about the rec department senior project? And they said, what rec department senior project? So, you know, when we all get so involved in the project, we think everybody else out there
Yeah,
knows
that's
about
right.
it. They don't.
Right.
It's amazing how they don't. So that's really, you know, our goal and our charge for the next 5 weeks is to get the word out in terms of, you know, what this project is all about. And I have meetings set up at both at all of the other 3 elementary schools, councils and PTOs in the next couple of weeks, so we'll be touching base with all of them. And I'll tell you, those people can be very, very good supporters for us. If I see in the next 3 schools what I saw last night, I would say this is gonna slide right through. I know I'm not gonna lean on that, because we still have a lot of work to do. Denise and I went Denise went with my 4-month-old granddaughter and daughter-in-law to the Mama Steph event that she does. I think it's every couple weeks, maybe at the library. And again, I stood out, I said, yeah, this might be a good opportunity to, again, come in contact with some young people. It wasn't. It was mostly grandparents that were bringing kids to the event. So again, that was fine. And you know, we got some good feedback there. We have touched 2 of the daycare centers, the one at the Baptist Church, Suzanne Finley, who's I've known for ages, and at my church, FTCC, up on Countryway. I know the last name is mine, I can't think of it right now. Daycare center there, and there are a couple of daycare centers. So we're talking to them, and as the moms and dads come in there, you know, they'll be handing out also information to bring those people up to speed. Denise and I went to the SEF event last Saturday at Kennedy's, and we didn't do a lot of politicking there, but we had our buttons on, and you know, we did talk to some people and let them know about the project. So we have pins, we've used them all up, 150, we have another 150 on order, they'll be in, I think, tomorrow. Yard signs just came in today. We have 150 yard signs. I have about 100 in my car, so I'm sure I'll be able to get them all out tonight before, you know, when the meeting breaks up. And we have banners. It's about a 2-foot by a 4-foot or 5-foot banner. If you've ever driven up Manlock Road in the last week or 10 days, you'll see one at the end of my driveway. The Conways have agreed to put one there. I'm gonna talk to Mike Bullman, see if he would put one up on his fence there. And we haven't come up with anything in North Situate yet, but if anyone has any idea, we might wanna hang one of those banners in North Situate.
We can put on a surf shop.
Oh, so, yeah, okay. You wanna talk to them?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we've got 6, so we'd like to, you know, spread those around town. We're gonna do the landfill this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Elaine is kinda heading that up. So if any of you can help us out with the landfill, and it's gonna be informational only, we're not asking for money. We're gonna be up on the recycling deck. Again, just handing, we have some postcards coming in, just to hand out postcards, informational postcards to people. We got Saturday and Sunday. We do have a Saturday, it's the Saturday before Monday or something, where we'll be at the Triangle, inside the fence, where people stand when they do donations. Again, I'm not sure it's gonna be a donation thing. I think, again, more to hand out, you know, informational, you know, stuff to people. I think right now, that's the most important thing is we need to do is get information out. We'll probably do the marketplace on a couple of occasions. I gotta talk to, I forget the gentleman's name that owns that, but we're gonna touch base with him. Rotary, Linda and I think we're doing the Rotary meeting in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna talk to Maura Glancy. Maura had asked, you know, I don't, the council could not get up the other night at town meeting and, well, not town meeting, speak speak for the field project. I don't think, legally, that's okay, whatever. So Maura had asked me, she said, you know, how do you feel about the field project? I said, I'm comfortable with it, so would you mind saying something? I said, no, so I did. And I slipped in a little thing about the senior project. Unfortunately, I couldn't be at the second session until after most of the budget was discussed, and I wanted to put a hold on the senior budget, again, to try to get a little slip in there, but I came in after that most of the budget was heard. So Mara, so there's a Little People's program there, which is actually quite large. So again, we're gonna try to get out and get some information to the Little People's parents or grandparents, whoever happens to bring the Little People to that program. And the other thing,
Gordon, excuse me,
Yeah.
how about a banner right over the entrance to the rec center?
It's town property.
Oh.
yeah, I don't think, you can't do it on town property, yeah. Good idea, though. But you know, sometimes you ask for forgive, what's that saying about asking for forgiveness? Do it and ask for
Yeah, right,
forgiveness
thank you.
later, so. We'll see. We're talking about maybe doing phone calls. Lucien has been great. He got a hold of anyone can get the voter list, and he's was able to select out 55 and over, and he and some people are working on getting phone numbers for all those people. So we're thinking of having some sort of phone campaign, but that probably wouldn't happen until, if the meeting is May 13th, probably the week before that meeting. Those are kind of things I don't think you want to do, you know, 4 weeks in advance. And then we're also talking, I know Karen feels, Mara Curran and Karen Canfield, and I'm sure I may have a thought on this too, feel real strongly about having, I call them ballot checkers. So when at the ballot box, when somebody says Gordon Price, 48 Manlock Road, you're there with your list of, and you check off that Gordon Price has voted. And then at some point at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, you go to that list and there are 6 precincts, I guess, and then say, okay, these are the people that haven't voted yet, let's get on the phone and start calling these people. What's your thought, Sean, on?
When Laura ran against me, that's what I did. And people didn't know what I was doing, but it's perfectly legal. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work, but it will work.
Uh-huh.
You know, and you're asking people to sit, how it works is you'll have a volunteer sit right next to the checkers as you come in, and they cannot speak. They just sit there and listen. So when Dr. Price comes in and he says his address, they'll check him off. So every half an hour, every hour, and about noontime you might start, that list, you have runners. And so the person sits, hands the list to the runner, and they go out, and then you have people with a bank of phones, and they're checking off, okay, this one hasn't been. It takes a lot of work,
Yeah.
but you will succeed.
Yeah.
If it
Yeah,
could
we-
take 24 people, it could take a
Well, yeah, we
lot.
figured somewhere between 25 and 30 people.
Amazing.
I remember doing that, and
I did
it does work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
chasing people who haven't come to vote and you're
Or
getting them out.
reminding them,
Yeah.
or
Just
just
remind
really
them.
reminding
Yeah.
them, and do you need a ride, and
Yeah,
whatever the
that's right.
case is,
Yeah.
so
So, you know, we're gonna develop this in terms of if we wanna do it, and if we can do it, if we can get the numbers of people that we're gonna need to do it over the next couple of weeks, that we would be ready for the, what do you think about doing something like that, maybe on a lesser scale for the special? Just to encourage people to show up at the special.
not a bad idea, in my own opinion, but let me ask you, I think your challenge is at the ballot, like
Yeah.
typically, I think someone said at town meeting, you know, I'm with this group, and
Yeah.
I'm against something, and you guys are for it, I'm gonna go along with it, but when I go
Yes.
behind in the cubicle there,
Yeah.
privacy, so, you know, but it doesn't hurt. And what's it, just 5 days, it's Monday night and the election's Saturday, or something, 5, 6 days, so it's still fresh in their mind.
Okay.
It, how much you wanna put into it is, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, just a comment on town meeting. we're gonna miss Rich, Rich Bowen. He's been a great moderator, runs a great town meeting. And town meeting was a great example, and I'll weave it into my, presentation at Cushing PTO, because we discussed it again there. You know, there was information that was put out at the town meeting that there were issues with locks at Cushing. It was put out by a teacher, who had been a substitute teacher at Cushing. And I left that meeting really disappointed and really disillusioned with what the superintendent said about, well, you know, there's some issues, we'll address them within the next 2 years. That was not the answer to give, but unfortunately, he didn't really have the right information. Because it was very clear when I went to the PTO meeting the other night, and there were 2 resource officers there, who were always in and out of the schools, and, you know, paid very close attention to the schools, and they described to the moms that were there, these locks in this building are perfectly safe. They work perfect. You know, they have some magnetic thing that they put in between the striker and the locker. So all they have to do is pull that out real quickly, and bang, the door is locked. There's no going outside the room, locking the door, coming back inside the room, which is the way it was described in town meeting. So there was some bad information that was put out, and, you know, then of course Facebook, you know, Scituate Monthly got a hold of that, and God forbid they wanted to hang people. So, so it's just an example of how inaccurate information can get out, and they just kind of blossom. And, you know, we've experienced that ourselves. And it's unfortunate that it happens,
But we didn't have anybody who understand the situation and, you know, stood up and talked about it.
And that teacher, and I know that teacher very well. She's not a friend, but she's an acquaintance, I know her. I'm sure it wasn't her intention to put out inaccurate information, but she hasn't been in that school in 3 years.
Oh.
She was a substitute 3 years ago. And so there were changes made to the lock system in the school within that period of time, but she wasn't aware of it, so she just went on what she thought was fact, and it wasn't fact. Anyway, so I left the PTO meeting last night, scurried over to the combination of,
Capital.
thank you, meeting last night with Lincoln Heineman, and Chris Karsha was not there. He was vacationing in California, so he wasn't there as the chair for the capital planning. It was an interesting meeting. Our expected opposition was there, speaking, again, I think less than accurate information. I think it was absorbed or believed by some of the panel on the 2 committees, but I think my sense is that I think we have good support in advisory. I'm really questioning what kind of support we have in capital planning. I'm going to meet with Chris when he comes back from vacation, first of next week, and just kind of get his ear a little bit. The issues that came up were not just gates, but how can we, and this is coming mostly from capital planning, how can we go ahead with this plan if we don't know what's going to happen with that building? I don't think that's pertinent. You know, it's not our senior COA senior population responsibility to decide what's going to happen with the gates. It's the town's responsibility to make a decision, and hopefully in the next year and a half, to decide what's going to happen with that building. But it should not be on our shoulders or our responsibility. And then the other kind of slant on that was, well, if that is built, that's going to kind of set the tone for what's going to happen with gates. And, you know, then you get this whole historical thing that has come about in the last week or 10 days. It's not been deemed a historical property. It's been said that it may have legitimacy to get historical registration at some point once you go through all the paperwork, which I guess is pretty extensive. But that would be only for that very, very center part, not the wings, not the A, not the thing to the right of the B, but just that very, very center part itself. And as Jack Whitaker spoke, has a lot of experience with historic properties, restoring them, tearing them down, and has been actually been in the building trades and stuff. And, he said, yeah, fine. You realize if that building is deemed historic, and you have to do, and you're going to do a historic preservation or renovation of that building, the cost is astronomical. You don't take a historically registered property and just throw any old window on it, or any old door, or any old gutter. It's very, very restrictive to what you can do with that. And so he said, be careful, you may paint yourself into a corner that you're not going to be happy with if that building is actually put on the historic register. So, but again, again, they're talking about, it'll devalue the historic value of that area if a new building is put on it. My point, when I got a little too excited last night, as did Lou Chin. We were both hot under the collar, not hot under the collar, but it's the senior people in this community that have made the history in Gates. All right, so they're the ones that have made history there. So isn't it now time to start a new channel of history and put a building there? Let's start some new history that's sadly needed. So I don't know. We'll see. I know advisory is meeting again April 24th, I think it is. At which time they will make a decision. I'm not sure when capital planning will meet, and Chris will set up a meeting, I'm sure, in the next week or 10 days. But that's kind of it was a very interesting meeting. It ebbed and flowed. It was really great at one point, and oh boy, the next stuff. So it's not everyone in town, and we know. I've had this discussion with many people. We're not going to convince everybody in the Scituate that plan, that project is the ideal one. But it's the best thing that we've come up with yet, and I don't see that there's anything out there that could be any better. There's, this building could be put somewhere else in town, but well, wait a minute. When we wanted to put it on the Driftway, that was virgin land. When we wanted to put it behind the library, that was, oh no, you can't take down trees. We want to put it on the Gates property, we can't do that, it's historic property. I mean, where do you want to put this building? That you can agree that it's going to happen, so. And I spoke with Mrs. H on the way out. As you probably know, she's my neighbor. We don't dine a lot together or do a lot of socializing.
Maybe you should.
Socializing. She's a nice lady. She has her opinions, and she thinks that's the way things should go. I don't. And, I think we've been very compromising. I mean, when we had a $19 million plan, and then we started hearing the rumble about the gates, and then we started looking at the cost. 19 million. Oh, can we get this to fly? So we made some compromises, and we thought that was going to be kind of the end of the real turmoil against this project, but it's kind of shifted into a different direction. But I'm still optimistic. I really am.
We've addressed some of those obstacles.
We have.
So there still are going to be some obstacles, but we've addressed many of them.
I think fiscally, it's a very responsible plan. We're never going to do anything in this town for less than $11–12 million. When you look at what Mass Elder Affairs or whatever recommends, $5 a square foot times 5,500 seniors, we should be doing 28,000, and we're not. That's not what we're asking for. We're asking for something that's very reasonable, and so that's. kind of what we've been up to.
Anybody have any questions for Gordon?
Well, I want to congratulate you on the 2018 Citizen of the Year award.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh.
yes,
Yeah, well,
congratulations.
wait a while.
It's amazing what a couple of $20 bills can do.
On April 25th, from 5:30 to 8 at the Mill Wharf, there's going to be a reception. The tickets are going really fast, already got mine.
Yeah.
$25.
April 25th.
But that would be a good venue to, and
Yeah.
your article in the paper was tremendous on the senior center.
Uh-huh.
That was awarding you this. And so this April 25th would be a good time to put some of those paperwork out for
Yeah.
the senior center. There's gonna be two other people beside you.
Right.
Carol Bowman, where I work for Jack Conway.
Very
Will be
supportive.
one of them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people there that we could get involved.
Right.
To vote and also financially.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So congratulations.
We'll have information.
Who's selling
And
tickets?
The Chamber of Commerce, I would go with Linda up at the inn. Different
Linda has the
peop-
tickets, she has the tickets
Yeah.
at the end.
She has
Okay.
the tickets. Different people have tickets. I got mine from Jack Conway, you know, so. But Linda, I think, is the head of the chamber.
Yeah.
But congratulations. so.
Congratulations, I think all your personal visits to that list that you mentioned, there's nothing like a
Yeah, you're right.
face-to-face.
Yeah.
I've spoken to some members of FOSS, and this Saturday night, Rotary's gonna be 50 years celebrating. And I've invited them to come
Uh-huh.
and give out whatever they have
Yeah.
and, you know, just work the crowd there,
Yeah,
so.
and I know that there's a young lady at the Meeting House Inn that has personally, I think,
Oh,
you know.
yeah,
hand-
she's
hand
put them
delivered-
under our door
hand
with a little
delivered some
note,
things, so,
absolutely, yeah.
You know, we'll try to hit neighborhoods like that, you know.
So, but there'll be about 125 on
Yeah.
Saturday night, so.
We want to get
I've got your
cards for
tickets
the
on
community
file.
dinner.
Say again, Joan?
You know, the community dinner we have at St. Luke's,
Yeah,
the end of the month. I want to get some of the cards because
okay.
the people forget.
And even
They have
buttons.
those cards, I tell them to put them on the refrigerator or something.
Yeah, sure. Unfortunately, our first 3,000 cards, we gave out about 2,000, we can't give out the other 1,000. We didn't get, it was an oversight, we didn't get the approval of some of the people, or actually any of the people that were shown on the card. And there was one young woman who works at the library, who subsequently, after they given out 1,500 or 2,000, you know, said, you know, I'm not happy with my picture being on that card that you're giving out, so we agreed to reprint the cards and redo the pictures on them. But
Also,
it
St.
was an
Luke's
oversight.
St. Luke's is a good place to put some signs because you're right on the 3A.
Yeah, although I know that, you know, the churches that we've approached so far, St. Mary's, that they view it as kind of a political.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
stay away from
They don't
political.
want to get involved. like
Well, I'll
political
talk to them,
so.
I'll talk to them.
If they're willing to, fine, we'd be happy to.
Okay, I'll talk to her and see.
I have one friend acquaintance who does live on 3A, I'm hoping that we can get him to put one on 3A.
You can put one on my
By the
property
re-
because
by the
everybody on the
reservoir.
street will vote for whoever I vote for.
Yeah.
Now that's power. That is power.
Norton had one.
Yeah.
Wow.
They'll say, what selectmen you for? I said, I don't know yet. I
Yeah.
gotta go to a thing and find
Yeah.
out more about it.
So we also had 150 of these magnets printed up. We didn't want to do bumper stickers. Nobody likes putting bumper stickers on their cars anymore. So this it does not harm the
It's
paint.
wonderful.
It goes right on the door, wherever you want to
Yeah.
put it. You put one on if you want two, put one each side. Some people, Lou Chin has 3, one on each door, one on the back. I told Lou, we're gonna pay his gas bill, and have him just circulate through the town all day
Well,
long.
and it sticks very well to the
They
car.
do. Yeah, yeah, so anyone that wants to take one tonight, there's somebody that had more in my car, and also the signs, they just came in today.
Yeah, I'll
So
take-
yard signs are,
I'll take a sign, I'm,
and, you know, again, as, you know, I had to back off from the Council on Aging Board because of my involvement where, you know, I'm soliciting and the ethics violations don't allow it. This isn't really soliciting, you know, to put something like this on your car. I don't think that that's any problem at all. Or a yard sign, I mean, that's not soliciting,
well, I'm en route to the lighthouse, so I get so many,
oh, yeah,
so it's a
sure.
perfect place to put a sign.
Yep, yeah, so.
I'll take
That's kind of what our plan is. There's a lot of work to be done the next 5 weeks, there's no doubt about it. Especially if we get involved in this phone campaign and ballot checking, it's gonna be a big effort, but, I think it was Maura Carmen said, there was some effort, I don't think it was her campaign, but there was some effort she was involved with the library, or she said, but, we realized that around 2 o'clock, we weren't gonna make it. She said, people got on the phone, and she said, and we pulled it out because of the phone calling, so, it can be effective. But we'll need the help of a lot of you to help us pull that off, if in fact we do it. I think we probably will.
The more people you have, the less any one has to do.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So we can give an hour or two.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Very good,
yeah.
we appreciate all the work, and
You're
a
not
lot of
kidding.
progress, but a lot to do.
Yeah. And again, we're working very closely with Linda and COA. This is not a, you do this and we do that, so any of these meetings that, I've been able to set up, I let Linda know ahead of time, and if she is coming up with something, she'll let us know also. So, unlike in the past, when there was a lot of division, back in 2004, 2005, and this group wanted it, that group didn't, we didn't have support at town hall. Now that whole thing is just totally different. Everyone's on the same path, and great support from the selectmen, without a doubt. And Jim Boudreau is, phenomenal with help, so if we can't pull it off, if we can't do it this time, that's okay, it's never gonna happen.
Oh, my
But,
God,
I'm optimistic. I
Yeah.
think the time has come that a lot of people realize it.
Yeah.
We've done fire, we've done police, we've done middle school, we've done library, and it wasn't a master plan. The senior, relocating this to a better, newer facility, it wasn't that, I don't know if it was a master plan that was developed 4 or 5 years ago. It wasn't necessarily designated as a standalone center, but when it came to looking at that Gates, I wouldn't mind being in the Gates building, but I don't want to see the town spend $35 million to do it. It just wasn't worth it, so I think our plan is a good plan.
I'd just say the timing is correct. I think having it now is perfect, May, because schools, they're gonna, there's always gonna be more needs and
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I just think your timing
Yeah.
couldn't be any better.
Actually, a couple of the moms at Cushing PTO, I think, said that, she said, everyone realizes that there's a school project coming down the pipe in another 3 or 4 years. And, we don't want to be messing around with that. And, there are other issues.
Yeah.
There's water issues, there's sewer water issues.
And they're not going away.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I'm just gonna say one other thing, I was just thinking in the past couple of months, a person who never stops me on the road and complains to me did just a couple of months ago, and he had a whole laundry list of things he didn't like in town, and so I shut my truck off and tried to explain it an hour later. But, so, and this person has been in this town a long time, and it's amazing how they have half of it, they don't have the whole
Yeah.
picture.
Yes.
Some of it, and that's all they seem to hold on to. So the fact that it went from 20 to 10 or 19 to 11 is gonna go a long way too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, because this person was worried, is worried about his taxes
Yeah.
and so forth. So we're all gonna talk to people like that, and so you have to tell them that.
On that, my last thought, I asked the ladies last night, if you have any questions, and there were some very good questions. One of the last questions was, so who do you find you're having the most, pushback from on this project? Young people or seniors?
Seniors.
I had to say seniors. I get rarely pushback from younger people. Younger, I mean, anybody younger than maybe 60, 50, 40, 30.
Because they're afraid of taxes.
They grasp the need for it. But I think for the senior set, I think it's the thought of money.
Yeah.
But we're talking $150 a year.
Yeah.
We're talking a budget buster here. And, I think that's an important message we have to get out also.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna be a budget buster. Is the cost of running a 15,640 square foot building gonna be more than running this building? Sure.
Yeah.
Linda's budget, will go up, it's not gonna go from 180 to 580. It's gonna probably go up, I don't know, $100,000 maybe, but again, that's pennies on the dollar. So, you know, we've got all the right, all the right arguments. We just have to get the word out there. But thank you for all your help in this. It has been a great effort, and will continue to be.
With that, does anyone have any other questions and/or old business? Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting? Or can I get a motion to adjourn? All right, very good. Thank you very much, everyone.